Hey there, this is Garry Creath.
And I'm Chris Scott, and we're with Creath and Scott Homes, where we help you find, search, buy, and sell homes in the Austin real estate market.
And what we're here to talk about today is the Austin housing market, because Chris, a lot has been changing over the past year, and I'm sure everybody here is very curious what's going on in the real estate market right now.
Well, I think we've all heard that it's a seller's market. It's a seller's market. It's a seller's market. Oh, by the way, it's a seller's market, right?
But I have a new update.
What?
It's a seller's market. Inventory's down, buyers are up there, prices are up. It's a seller's market.
Yeah. So what are the strategies that you can use if you're a buyer in a seller's market?
So this is the point, is that we need to make sure that you are prepared if you're ready to buy a house right now, because competition is fierce. And there are several things that you can do in order to be prepared and get the home of your dreams.
All right. What's the first one?
So number one, be prepared. So have all of your financing lined up. Be ready with your cash. And in fact, you need to be prepared to write an offer on the house that you're interested in when you see the house. So that's a point number two.
So be ready to take action. You don't want to have anything, any loose ends to tie up that would prevent you from getting your offer accepted.
Absolutely not. So be prepared and take action. Number two, this ties into being prepared, is make sure that the agent that you hire is completely mobile. And what does that mean? Well, what it means is that when you go see the house, that they are ready with a mobile device to be able to submit your offer from the house that you're seeing. This is really important because you have to move fast and you have to be strategic.
Well, the faster you can get that offer in, and the faster, if you're working with somebody who's a good negotiator, they know they're going to put a very compelling offer that expires, right? Because you want to be able to have some pressure and urgency to accept the offer.
Yes, which actually brings us to the next point, is writing the offer. When you're writing the offer, it's important to take a step back from yourself and what your needs and concerns are, and you need to contact the listing agent to find out what are the needs and concerns of the seller. What is most important in the offer that we're constructing to the seller? And in addition to that, what is most important to the listing agent? Is it a higher price, a short option period, a really fast closing, terms and conditions? You need to craft the offer that is really seductive to the seller and their agent.
And when you pick somebody to work with, you got to make sure that they're doing that for you, right? Like you want to make sure that they're not just throwing a price out there and hoping that something good news is going to come back, right? You have to be strategic in making that offer, because you got to make sure you're addressing their concerns, all the parties involved, making sure there's a high level of urgency there so that you can get that offer accepted.
And always attach to the offer a cover letter from you.
Oh, so you make it personal.
Absolutely. As a home buyer, if you can really tug on the heartstrings and share with the sellers what it is that you love about their home and the neighborhood and what excites you and your family about living there,
right?
It's even better.
If you can personalize it, make it real, make it more than just a piece of paper with a price on it, right? You're actually making this about people, you're making it about yourself, your family, the people who are going to be buying this home and living in it, and all of a sudden, you're relying on more than just a number, right, at that point. Garry, what are some other, different strategies maybe they haven't heard of at all that they could use?
So number one is finding homes that aren't currently on the market. So how do we do that? Number one is that if you can search through the MLS with your realtor and find any homes that have expired or withdrawn from the marketplace. So a house that expires, that is a listing that was taken off the market because the agreement with the listing agent expired. So it's no longer on the market. A withdrawn is a seller who just tells their agent, take our house off the market, we're not getting what we want. And here's the thing. You can look back 18 or 24 months to find the homes that were withdrawn or expired, essentially pulled off the market and still aren't on the market, and your agent can contact that client directly, the seller directly, and say, are you still interested in selling your house? Because I think it'll fit our needs. Finding houses that are not available to everybody else.
Well,
really awesome.
and that's really just working with a real estate agent who's willing to do that legwork, because it requires a little extra elbow grease to get that done, right? It's not something that you or I normally, if we weren't in the MLS and having access to that information and willing to pick up the phone and call these folks, it's not something that most people will do, right?
No, it's not, because it's just easier to wait for houses to come back on the market. Another thing, Chris, we were talking about before we went live here is that you can actually look for houses that are for lease and then contact the seller and say, would you be willing to sell? You recently had a friend that worked for.
Two people, they were renting a home and just reached out to the owner and said, hey, I want to buy your house.
Yep. Right. So these are all very unique strategies and tactics that you need to have in your hip pocket when you're out looking to buy a house in this hot market.
You want help buying a home? Contact us. Our email address is in the notes for this video. You want to search for homes for sale in the Austin market? There's a link to use our direct access to the MLS to do that. If you do nothing else, subscribe to this channel. That way we can keep sending you good information and tips on the Austin market.